Hello. As you may know, on January 2023, a Parliament Act prohibiting non-Canadians from buying residential property, houses, came in force. And the idea was apparently to make it easier for Canadians to buy their houses in the face of skyrocketing prices. But the act itself, here is the act, was meant as an exceptional measure. It was meant only to be enforced for 2 years, as you can see from the Article 236, 237 of the Budget Implementation Act. And the act itself allowed to make exceptions, as you can see. The Article 4.2d allows the minister to prescribe particular categories of people who are still allowed to buy residential property. And that is done by regulation. And to those regulations, recently in March 27th, as far as I remember, 2023, there were amendments easing for temporary workers and real estate property developers to buy the property even if they are not Canadians within the meaning of the Act. Particularly, as you can see in the Article 5b of the regulations, now it's only needed to have about 1/2 of a year left to stay in Canada to be able to buy residential property. And also there is an interesting provision, 5b2, which is open for interpretation. Some people interpreted that a temporary worker can buy a second house. So if you have similar situation, it might be a good idea to consult a lawyer. In comparison, here is how the same provision was read before. So you see that the limitation is significantly eased in comparison. Also, the exception was eased for those who develop the property. Though the Act does not define what's development, and usually it's seen that if something new is built, then it's development. Like there was no house, now there is a house, or there was a small house, now there is a significantly bigger house with significantly more space, more room. So you see the logic in the Act and in the regulations that as long as the space for Canadians to live is increased, and even if a non-Canadian is building a residential property to lease out to Canadians, it's allowed, it's okay. But of course, this exception can be used for those who buy land and build on it to live there on their own. So the problem, the potential issue here is whether it's development or simple renovation. Like reconstruction is development, usually. Renovation, repairs are not. The simple criterion is that the living space is more or less the same, then it's renovation. If it becomes larger, then probably reconstruction. But again, in a particular situation, it's a good idea to consult a lawyer. And finally, when it comes to protected class as refugees, particularly when it comes to Ukrainians nowadays, the limitation does not apply. So people fleeing from some atrocities, from war, they are still allowed to buy residential property, to live in Canada, to establish their life in Canada. So here it is. Thank you, and have a nice day.